I was around maybe 3 when my parents separated. My father had an affair with some woman and my mom found out. Cue fighting, long divorce proceedings, 2 confused kids, me and my older sister, and lots of blaming on both sides. Anyhow, this whole thing calms down, and after a lot of exhausting months, everything is settled. My sister and I's relationship with Dad was always a bit meh, but he was there for us when we needed him, and we appreciated that. My mom and Dad put their differences aside for our sake, which was also appreciated. When I was 6, my father remarried. He had 3 kids with his wife, my half-siblings. Mark, the main character in this story, who is almost 16 now, and 2 twin girls, Lily and Caroline, aged 14. I have a decent relationship with my dad's new family. His wife is a decent woman, although a bit quirky. I have never had any issue with her. Maybe in the beginning we didn't see eye to eye on everything, but that was maybe understandable. Same with my sister. I will call her Kate. I get on extremely well with my half-sisters. Both are really amazing girls, and I like it to be around them when time permits. As for the other person in this household, Mark, I don't like him at all. He is really spoiled, bratty, and extremely entitled. He is a nightmare to be around. To give you an example of what he is as a person, when Mark was 12, he really wanted his mother to buy him an iPhone. When his mom refused, he snatched her phone from her hands, threw it against the wall, and yelled at her that if he can't have a phone, then neither can she. Needless to say, my dad took him out and bought him one. I tried being friendly with him for the sake of family, but he rejected every opportunity I gave him, so eventually I stopped. I tried inviting him to hang out with me and some friends once, but he quickly managed to get into arguments with most of my friends over completely stupid reasons. My phone is better than yours. My girlfriend does this and that whilst yours isn't. Childish stuff like that. I quit trying shortly after that incident. Yesterday was definitely the tipping point. My sister recently gave birth, and she wanted to show the baby to the family. Of course, my dad and his family were invited, but he couldn't make it, so he had sent my sister a really nice present and video on which he wished her all the best. A really nice gesture, to be honest. My half-siblings were present. Their mom dropped them off and also wished my sister all the best, but she had work and stuck around for at most half an hour. It was really nice family gathering over something really exciting and happy. Sadly, Mark was there to ruin everyone's day. I am going to list the things he managed to do in maybe under 2 hours. He made a remark that my sister has been getting fat, completely ignoring the fact she gave birth a week ago. He later told some other people there that she has started to look like a beached whale. He insulted my mom, saying that it's pathetic she can't even fix a damn meal, and wondered how did we live with her all those years. We are getting into the good stuff now. He said my nephew looks like a freak because he has mismatched eyes, heterochromia iridum, and almost got into a fight with my sister's boyfriend over his comment. Obviously, we had it with him, but my sister said that everything is gonna be over soon, and we let him stay. But during her speech, she wanted to say she appreciated it. We came for her. Mark was typing on his phone, and we all heard it. He purposely typed as loud as he could, so it could interrupt my sister's speech. My sister outright said, "Well, Mark, you clearly don't want to be here, so why, brother?" To which Mark replied, "Well, my dad said I have to be here, and we all know that that idiot could never be pleased." Granted, I didn't have the best of relationship with my father, but I couldn't stand there while this little crap was talking crap about him. I grabbed him by the neck and escorted him out, where I told him that I had it up to here with him. He clearly doesn't respect us, so he should probably go home. He called me a loser and said that he is happy he isn't staying because he couldn't spend another minute in that crap show. He was really playing on my nerves, so I told him in a rather angry voice that the only reason he isn't picking up his teeth from the ground right now is the fact that he is my father's son, and unlike him, I have some sort of respect for family. But he is really pushing his luck right now. He tried coming at me, but I pushed him back. You have no idea how much self-restraint it took for me not to hit him at that moment, and told him to go home before I changed my mind. After some more arguing, he finally left, and I came back inside. Everything was over by the time I had come back, and people have started leaving already. The twins have started apologizing to my sister for their brother's behavior, but Kate told them it's not their fault, and she dropped them off at their place. Last night, I got a phone call from my father. He started yelling at me. Why was I picking fights with Mark? And said that I was being disrespectful with his family. I tried to explain to my dad that he started it all, and went on to list the stuff he did. But my dad was having none of it. He said that Mark called him and told him we were mean to him the entire day, and Kate's partner tried to slap him. It was pointless arguing with my dad, so I just told him that I won't be apologizing for anything I did. He wanted me to apologize to Mark. My dad is the one who pays for my university. He put my sister through it, and now he is doing the same for me. He told me that if I don't apologize to Mark, he will pull all the funding and will leave me to deal alone. He also said that my sister and I won't be allowed near his family ever again and hung up on me. I am not apologizing for anything. Mark is a bratty little jerk, and I couldn't care less if he is playing the victim here. Fitting for him, he is always the misunderstood. He isn't getting a damn thing from me. As far as my dad, he can go duck himself too. I will work 5 different jobs and support myself before bending over and accepting his demands. However, the only reason I am writing this is because of my half-sisters. I know my father pretty well, and I know that when he says something, he does it. So I risk being isolated from my half-sisters, which, as I have said, I get along really well with. They are nothing like Mark, and they have said before that they feel much better when they are with me or Kate than at home where they never get anything from either my dad or their mom. It's always about Mark. The question I am asking here is simple. Do I bend over to my dad for the sake of my half-sisters, or do I refuse and get isolated from them in the process? Never give in to B or manipulation. You will simply open the door for more. Mark is a little jerk, and one day we'll get a wake-up call from someone who won't tolerate his BS. But that's another day from now. In the meantime, your sisters have phones. He can't cut off your contact. Soon they will be able to make their own decisions about who they hang out with too. Be there for them. Let them know the situation and that you may not be able to be around as much as you would like. If you want to go eye for an eye, inform your older sister of the situation. She has his granddaughter, and I would bet this is a trump card. She has the power to nullify his threats by threatening to cut him off, if she is willing. It's stooping to his level, but if you both are comfortable with that to serve the greater good, then you have the leverage you need. She will need to be a willing party, though. Personally, I don't have the stomach for counter-manipulation, but it's an option. It's down to you how you play the hand you've been dealt. I have a 2-year-old with my ex, who was conceived during a break. He broke up with me, but now my boyfriend claims it was just a break, with my current boyfriend. My ex and I used to date back in uni, and we never got back together during the break, but fooled around a lot. I only found out I was pregnant after my boyfriend and I got back together. My ex and his family have been a sore spot for my boyfriend, even though they've been nothing but nice and respectful towards him. I think deep down he expected me to have an A, but would never admit that's what he wanted. Also, to be completely transparent, my boyfriend wanted us to have kids and kept pressuring me to have one with him before our break. It was a big factor in why we went on the break. Also, my boyfriend wanted me to not let my ex sign the birth certificate so he could adopt my son instead. We live in the UK, so are very much under lockdown, so my ex couldn't take our son to see his family on Christmas Eve like we had planned. So they sent all their gifts for him to me and asked me to let them Skype him whilst he opens them. My boyfriend was really upset about this because he felt like it ruined our Christmas and got angry when I agreed to it, even though we already had plans to Skype my family and his for the same reason. He was also upset because he felt like they had got my son too many gifts and that he was going to grow up spoiled and entitled because of them, and he didn't want that to set a standard for the future kids we might have. Anyway, my ex's mom ended up gifting me an iPad for Christmas. My boyfriend was not happy. He thinks my ex got it, but used his mom as an excuse to give it to me, so he wouldn't look like the bad guy, and went on a long rant after we got off the call about it. Just for some content, my son accidentally knocked my phone off the counter and completely shattered the screen. I was using it so he could FaceTime his dad during the lockdown, so my ex is the only one in his family that knew about it from me, since I had to explain why I wanted him to use Skype instead. My boyfriend pretty much wouldn't drop it the whole day and mentioned how inappropriate it was to both of our families. His family are obviously on his side. They hate my ex and his family by default. His dad gave me a long lecture about how I didn't respect my boyfriend enough if I didn't see the problem. My family had mixed reactions. My brother was on my boyfriend's side and thought it was weird. But my parents said it was just a gift and it was no big deal since it benefited my son indirectly. Now my boyfriend is also angry at my parents and thinks they favor my ex over him. Honestly, I don't know what to do now. Part of me wants to just return the gift so he will stop going on about it, but I don't want to cause problems with my ex or his family, which that will do. Any advice on how to proceed would be appreciated. Unfortunately, I think it sounds like your relationship with your boyfriend has run its course. He's clearly never going to get over you having a child with another guy. Don't put your child through that. This is not about the gift, but about jealousy. You got pregnant with an ex instead of your boyfriend. That is the problem. You should end this relationship before the resentment affects your son. I'm not saying go back to your ex, but start a fresh relationship where there is no bad blood. I, 27 female, and my brother, John, 26 male, are very close. So I was definitely shocked when he surprised us on Thanksgiving by bringing his new girlfriend, Chelsea. He was very happy though, and to be honest, that's the only thing we want for him. So we, grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, held off on all questions until another time. Anyway, dinner time rolls around and we're sharing everything, and my aunt kind of pulls me off to the side and tells me we're not going to be eating my mashed potatoes because Chelsea brought some, and John asked that we serve those. I was a little peeved, not gonna lie, because I've done the mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving since I was 16, but I got over it pretty fast. I really didn't care as long as they were good. Spoiler alert, they were not. Everything that could have gone wrong with those potatoes went wrong. They were raisins. She was really excited though, so when she asked everybody if they were good, she got some mm-hmms. You know, the kind you do with your mouth closed and an uncomfortable smile on your face. Everything else was good, so her dish was highlighted. We all thought we passed it though, until my nephew spit it out into a tissue. She said something about not pleasing everybody to lighten the mood, cause we were all looking at him hard as hell. And my brother went, "I'm sure they glad to have a break from my potatoes anyway," and then laughed. I wasn't gonna say anything, but my sister, 22 female, said, "We are not," in the most monotone voice, and I just laughed, man. Like one burst of a cackle. Chelsea teared up, and the rest of the night was awkward. My brother called me a jerk and is still mad at me. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My sister and I both apologized, although I just said, "I'm really sorry," and my sister did more. Not the a-hole. Your brother is the a-hole here. He set her up. He should have told the family he was bringing someone to dinner. He knew that you make mashed potatoes every year. He saw those raisins. And then he made that comment about your dish. You laughing at your sister's comment is a result of your brother being dumb. If it's the first time you bring a new girlfriend, you don't have her make a dish. If she really needed to cook something, it should have been discussed with the family beforehand, not as a surprise. You better than me, because I would have refused raisin potatoes and snuck my own potatoes out. Our oldest child, Jay, is a spoiled brat. He has been running behind money, women, alcohol, and gambling his entire life. It was our mistake to raise him in a carefree way. We gave him whatever he wanted, no questions asked. We gave him a very luxurious life, took him on expensive vacations, bought him expensive gifts. We just never said no to him. He has never made us happy. It was always a pain in the butt with him. After college, I begged him multiple times to run our family business along with me, and it was a disaster. He had no time management and was absent to work most of the time because he was partying away somewhere. I had to finally let him go because of the embarrassment. Even friends in our social circle knew he was a spoiled brat. It was horrible. So, last week, my wife and I decided not to put his name in the will because he will burn it all away, but instead only put our daughter. Wife, on the other hand, danced around the idea of putting a custodian, guardian kind of a thing, and hope our son realizes the value of life, changes for good, and only then gets access to our property. The custodian guardian would be a very close friend of ours. I haven't given it much thought. How do I tell this to him and expect him to be okay with it? Edit. So, wife and I decided to put a custodian who will be holding our estate, factories, real estate, and other investments, and will only be handing it to our son after he gets his life back on track. The custodian is a very close friend of ours, and we trust him very well because his son was just as spoiled as ours was, but he turned his life around, so we figured he will know better. We also won't be telling our son about this arrangement. So, you raised a spoiled brat to have a carefree life, and now you're mad he's a spoiled brat with a carefree life. So you're going to take away his carefree life when you die. Okay, dude, you do you. But wow. Anyway, here's the deal. If you actually have real money and a business to leave, you're insane to not have it structured properly and put in a trust for both your children and your employees' sake already. It'll cost around $5 to $7K to set it up, and then you'll pay some percentage fee, but it's well worth it. Managing their inheritance so it grows and is accessible to them, but they're not suddenly experiencing a rush of cash, is just as important as anything else you do for them. Don't have close friends manage your money. That's a recipe for disaster. If you run a business, you should know that by now.